All right, what else do we want to talk about?
Let's. I want to talk about local theater and Scranton theater in general. Because I think the big challenge for something Scranton Fringe Festival is a brand new idea. It's something brand new to the area. A lot of people don't even know, like we said before, what a fringe festival is.
Correct.
So now, local theater, same thing. It's always difficult to get people to get there and to watch the theater, but everyone that I know that does always loves it and appreciates it. Mm-hmm. And I've seen a lot of great shows, particularly at the Old Brick Theater in North Scranton, where they're packing the place. And granted, it's a small space, mm-hmm. but they're packing it and they're getting people to go to these shows. And I think that's amazing and a great accomplishment for any local theater, because mm-hmm. I've seen a lot of local theaters come and go. I've seen a lot of local theater groups come and go. Uh-huh. So what is the secret to getting people to come out to these shows and grow that audience?
I'm sorry, I was incredibly distracted. No, but I heard the question.
Gary Patton in the control room, everybody.
I heard the question. The challenge. Just to put your question in a nutshell, because I know we're all distracted. The challenge. Theater is a very difficult thing to sell. It's not like a band show. I mean, financially, it's to do it well. And there's theater there's great local theater. Let me preface that. There's amazing local theater. There's some local theater I don't care for and I think is subpar. And I think that's okay, because the fact that it happens is a great opportunity and should happen. I don't have to love everything. But financially, if you're going to do something well, even the most basic, simple, you have to rehearse. You have to learn your lines. And I hate using it in that way because that makes it seem so like, and then if you're going to do that, do it
you
well.
Have to.
Right. Taking the art and you should take it seriously mantra out of it. Fundamentally, you have to build sets. You have to market. You have to have staff. You have to rehearse. You have to rehearse. A band who is just as important an art form can be called up in 3 days and say, hey, do you want to play this gig? As long as they have their act together, they can. Some bands are very, perfectionist and need to rehearse specifically for every show. At the end of the day, you give a guitarist, a guy who, a guitar, go play this song, he can, sound check and be ready to go in 20 minutes. You cannot do that with theater, at least not theater in that kind of sense. Bye, Mark. Okay,
is there a bigger payoff then? Building all that up and doing all this work. Is the payoff worth it in the end?
I think so. Put a musician in my standpoint, they probably disagree. And I cannot sing and I cannot strum a guitar for my life, so I don't know how to put that correlation. I think so. And sometimes the financial payoff for organizations is more than let's say a club makes off of a band. Sure. But then again, not really, because when you consider alcohol and food sales and stuff like that, there's not a lot of money in theater. And especially when you're doing copyrighted stage right material, people are I want to say ignorant, would be shocked to discover how much it cost. A straight drama, non-musical generally costs minimally it's $75 a show to get the rights to. Sometimes it's more. They base it on how professional a level is your production, how many seats. It usually just comes down to how many seats does your theater have. That's really what it comes down to. If you have an 8,000 seat, amphitheater, it's going to be more because you have the potential to make way more money off this. Right. Space like the Old Brick, for example, they probably are paying the standard $75. I would assume. I don't know. That varies in so many factors. Musicals, though, like especially, The Music Man, Annie, for God's sakes. If they give you the rights, that you're talking thousands and thousands of dollars.
Oh, man.
I had no idea.
Oh, yeah. It's a fortune. And that's just to get the rights. But that's because it's a people pleaser. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to get kids and grandma to go see The Music Man and Annie and Peter Pan and Sound of Music and all that.
Which is why you see that in high school and theater and things like that. Some college theater.
It has a lot of parts to go around. It has a lot of people that can be in it. And because then you have 50 kids in a show, they're all going to bring, 10 to 20 people. Yeah, you'll make that back and then some. But that's just talking about the royalty rights, not costumes, not marketing, not tech, not staff, not your orchestra, theater can be really expensive. And then don't even get me started on once you start getting into the unions, equity and IATSE, the technical union. So, yeah.
And the other thing too, and I've had this discussion with a lot of theater people, is I feel like there's some audiences who get it, and there's other audiences who are like they're almost intimidated by, especially like small productions where the actors are right in front of them and they're performing right there and that sort of thing. There's this element, especially I think since the development of media and social media and cell phones and things like that, people are almost detached from their entertainment. It's almost background noise anymore. People, will go to the movies and you see them on their phone the entire time. They're even, people will talk, they'll live tweet, they'll sit on Facebook all day during a television program and talk about it as it goes. You see that all the time, and I'm sure you've had your favorite show spoiled by somebody or something like that because they're just constantly talking about it all the time, and that's all you see. And in theater, you can't really get away with that because a lot of times, other than the bright lights being in your face, sometimes the actors can kind of see what you're up to.
It's very intimate.
So yeah, it's much more of an intimate experience. It's much more shared experience, and I think that's great in terms of as a performance artist and as someone who's trying to make a connection to the audience. But as the audience, they might feel maybe intimidated by
because
that.
now we have that safety blanket of, if I'm bored, I can always escape into my digital universe.
Exactly.
You can't do that in theater.
You'd be surprised.
No.
You shouldn't, and it's rare. I was in a show where an actor called somebody out from the stage, which I found just as inappropriate, to be totally frank. I mean, I thought it was hysterical, and I respect that person. It wasn't local; it was a production done elsewhere that I was in. But yeah, they called someone flat out like, "Hey, who you talking to?" And it broke the moment. So I mean, as an actor, you
like
suck it up and deal.
Wall.
Yeah, because you're breaking the fourth wall.
You suck it up and deal. I mean, Patti LuPone, darling, famous, diva of Broadway. You can listen to an audio recording, which is ironic, on YouTube. I found it where she was in the middle of her big finale number of Gypsy on Broadway and literally went, "Stop." Someone was taking pictures in the theater and she made them kick them out. And that's I'll acknowledge, I mean, if any other actor but her did that, the union would have killed them. I mean, for shutting down a show. And the best thing is when she was freaking out about it, someone else, you hear it on the audio, snapped the picture and she just turned. I mean, she's an incredibly professional, experienced, highly respected actress. That can be really dangerous. That's not just rude. And it is rude. It's distracting. It's rude. She said, you were told at the intermission, you're told at the beginning, it's in the programs. I mean, when you're on stage and musicians, it's dangerous, but they're a little bit more used to it. And when you're on stage playing, you're usually just staying stationary. You move around a little bit. When you're an actor, I mean, I've been in shows where I have a foot to play with, or I'm falling off the stage, or I'm going to get hurt really bad. And if flash happens in my face that I'm not expecting, at the least it's distracting, it's rude, and it'll take me out of the moment. At the worst, I've seen people get, there's been Broadway performers who have gotten flash photography and stumbled back and tripped over and fell. Because, I mean, think about how that's when actors walk the red carpet. They stop, they look, they move on. That's why they create stations. When you're constantly getting flashed by that paparazzi, how major celebrities do, that's when accidents happen.
Oh my goodness. Imagine if any celebrity walking the red carpet has some sort of neurological condition that causes seizures.
I would wonder if they just can't do it then.
I couldn't imagine they could.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, there's like we said, there's so many things that people don't take into account, especially when it comes to these types of things, because we have that wall between us in terms of entertainment. Like we talk about celebrities all the time, and that's why I love things, like when the celebrities read the tweets about themselves and stuff like that. Because it's funny, because I think people tend to forget that these are actual real people that we're talking about here.
Right.
And maybe we think that there's this wall where they never hear it, but sometimes they do,
Yeah.
And I feel like we should have a little more respect for people and that sort of thing, especially because, these are the people that we apparently love so much. We can't stop talking about them. We can't stop watching them. We can't stop the conversation about it. Yet, we think that we can just say what we want to say and, spew things. And I just don't have respect for people who do that. I think you should have have a more objective, human way of looking at things. I mean, and I guess maybe that comes from, I did a little acting when I was in high school, and I had a lot of fun, and that brought me out of my shell a lot too. I was a very shy, quiet guy, and I was picked on all through grade school. So I really had this, I was really self-conscious, but theater was able to really pull me out of that, and I had to force myself even into that, because it wasn't like somebody said, "Okay, you're taking a theater class."
Right.
I had to consciously say, "I'm going to put myself in front of people and want to piss myself, and hope that, I'm as entertaining in my head as I am in person,
Right.
And it was a lot of fun, and it worked out well, and I enjoyed that aspect of things. Now, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What was your experience into that? How did you transition into, being an actor and playwright?
I've always liked attention. I've always been a big fan of attention.
That's important.
I did my first show when I was 13. It was Scranton Reed's production. It was like a citywide production of Our Town. I was George. Paige Belitsky actually directed that.
Oh, cool.
And from there, just kind of steamrolled. Through a little bit in high school, community theater. Like anyone does community theater. Took classes, took workshops, both locally in New York. I've had the fortunate opportunity at an administrative level to work with a few, like behind the scenes, with a few wonderful theater programs and companies such as the Living Theater. They are the longest running experimental theater in the country. They were founded in 1949, I believe, still under the leadership of, she's kind of patched the torch. She's still, kicking. The amazing, brilliant, groundbreaking Judith Molina. I was able to meet her and her, team of actors and I was able to be in a performance of one of her works one of the last shows they performed in New York on Clinton Street. They're still active, just not in that space. But yeah, just kind of went from there. And then 2 years ago, an eastern wind gale force called Simone Daniel came into my life. She came to the theater, and we did production that the Vintage produced of Pride and Prejudice that was done back in May 2013. It was in honor of the 200th anniversary. It was like a 14 cast production. I'm not sure if you got to see it or not. That's totally cool. We did get to perform, I think, close to like 500 to 700 people total throughout the 2 weekends. It was this huge, massive production. It was a reinvention of the Pride and Prejudice we took it from 1813 England and transplanted it to early 1960s America, New England, which was really fun to work with the characters in that way. So we played brother and sister in that. She and I also both adapt. Like I was the primary adapter of that script, and then she helped tweak things here or there. It was a very collaborative process because the struggle was finding respect of Austen words, but making it make sense. The jargon used in 1963 is not the same. And then from there, we wrote together. So we, worked together in improv and other little shows and stuff like that. And the Vintage Ensemble, even though the Vintage is a venue, it has closed and is closed. The new Vintage Ensemble is still kicking. We're both members of that, not in a leadership capacity, but just actors and dedicated supporters. So they're going to be announcing their stage reading series and their lineup for everything very soon. So that's exciting. And then she and I co-wrote and we co-perform as a 2-person show called The Darling Corps, which, Rich, you were very fortunate enough to oh my God, that almost came out awful. You were very fortunate. We were very fortunate enough for you to come out. I was going to say it's you were very fortunate enough to see it.
You were very lucky, Rich.
No,
I was though.
We were very fortunate to have Rich come see it, and I would be happy to talk about that in any way. We did it in Pittsburgh in May 2014 for the Fringe, brought it back immediately to Scranton at the Vintage in May, and then we just did it back in November at the Old Brick with a slightly expanded script. And I can publicly announce that we're being produced by The Cell. It's called The Cell Theater in Chelsea, New York, April 29th. We're doing a one-night only gala, party performance of it. And then the intention is, if that all goes well, for the run that we've been campaigning for, like a 4 to 5 week off-Broadway run. But it's going to have its New York premiere in a gorgeous space, in a really great company that's producing it for us. So we're so excited. And we can't wait. And that is being done under the Electric Residence, which is basically the collective name of Simone and I.
Well, congratulations on that. That's really great.
Thank you. We're excited. It wouldn't have been possible without, local support and all the people who helped us, and, people like you who came out and, shared their thoughts and feedback from it. But yeah, they loved the script. They were happy with the feedback and the, materials we're able to give them. And we're so excited to be working with them. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, if you're interested, if you look through our archives, we did do a review of the show, and we gave it a very, I gave it a very great review because I thought it was great, and I just thought it was a really original, different kind of show. And it's like we were talking about before. It's an intimate show. I mean, it's only two people. And it's got a really interesting story, and you think you know where it's going to go, and you
do
don't.
not.
No, you really don't. You start to get these little hints, and what I liked about it is it doesn't treat the audience like you see a lot of, especially movies now, where movies kind of have to spell everything out for you. That was actually, to mention Gone Girl again, that's kind of what I liked about Gone Girl a little bit is usually those types of films where there's a mystery, it follows a certain formula. Like by the time we get to the third act, there's like an entire 10 to 15 minutes dedicated to over-explaining how everything happened and where everyone was, and let's show
she was
what we
already
didn't
in
show.
the house.
Right, exactly. And it babies the audience. It treats you like they're stupid, and it's like I'm sorry, but audiences are not that dumb. I think they deserve more respect than that. And so I really liked that the Darling Corps in particular is intelligent, and it's proud of being intelligent. It's not trying to dumb it down for a general audience or anything. I think it's fun.
We wrote the kind of show that we wanted to do, and the kind of show that we thankfully has been generally well received by others. It was very well received in Pittsburgh. We've gotten great local feedback, and anyone we've sent the script to has, for the most, some don't like it, and that's okay. That's subjective. Majority, I will say, with every bit of humble pride, have been a fan of it. And I think it's a testimony to just how well Simone and I work together, both as writers and performers. We've often talked about, like, people have asked us, we've done interviews like, do you have a style or an approach to your art? And we just, and depending on what we're working on, we do have something but we don't have a soapbox is a common thing. We don't have a soapbox. Sometimes soapbox will emerge from our, development from that, but we don't set out to. We think the world is absurd and people are absurd, and we just try to display that. The Darling Corps, for anyone who don't know, is the story of Adam and Lilith, the alleged mythological original couple. Before Eve, even, it was Adam and Lilith. And because God just can't stand them, he's cursed them with immortality. And for the past 100 years, they've been a vaudeville duo. So it's kind of like the facade of their on-stage personas.
You didn't see it?
No, I didn't see it.
Oh, it was really good.
Thank you, Mark.
You know me. I don't go to plays, man.
He doesn't. He did. I made him come to this. Mark,
you're one of those people.
Mark.
No. And Connor, I think, is going to explain. Or maybe not. I'll just keep.
What I was going to say, I'm not sure. What I was going to say was Mark is a very, very dear, good supporter and friend. And whenever I invite him to stuff all the time, comes to very few of it. When I do tell him specifically, I'll text him and say, it would really mean a lot to me if you were there. He's always been there. And I usually select those very carefully, not only for things that I really do need him there for or want him there for, but for things that I know he'll like.
Hold this.
Could you stand here? Could you get the door?
Yeah, sure, Connor, whatever.
Thank you, Mark. No, did you enjoy it?
I really did, but my... I
know I'm bragging. This is the first time I'm hearing about this.
No. I feel really, really stupid because I loved every moment of it, and I think you and Simone have great chemistry, and I think you have great chemistry because you're such good friends. I also think that you're both very, fearless when it comes to being on stage.
We have no shame.
Right, but I think that's what makes for a great performance because you're not afraid. If it fails, you're okay with that. That's only an experience to make it better.
Right.
Most people are afraid to look stupid, and I've never seen you look stupid.
Oh, then you're not looking.
Right, but that's why I think, like, in terms of actors, that when you look at performances in the past, and I can only speak from film. But a lot of the great actors come from some sort of comedic background because they're not afraid to go to those places where they're going to make a fool of themselves. Which means that this is my interpretation of it.
No.
Like Robin Williams, it's like, oh, dude, the guy Mork from Ork, and he's turned in some of the best dramatic performances that, I've seen, and then, God bless his heart. But so it really bothered, it didn't bother me with the Darlene Corps. It was just like, at the end, everybody got a card when they walked in.
Mm-hmm.
And I finally so I know that there's it's Adam and Lilith, right?
Something. Yeah. Well, and it was done differently. You saw it in May. Rich saw it in November. So it was a different run. It was, we put it in the program, and that was actually something you commented on. That's been an interesting debate. One of the biggest, not faults, but just things that we constantly are going back and forth and figuring out, and this goes back to Rich's comment, is we don't know how much to put right in people's laps. And I think we figured that out pretty well now, and how much to not.
I didn't see the November one.
Really, I mean, there wasn't much more in that department. It was more about our origins and our history. We went into a little bit more in the new run, and there was some added material, and there was a little bit more comedic bits.
I finally figured out with all of it. I didn't know that there was a precursor to Adam and Eve, and it wasn't until I flipped because I said to you, I'm like, I loved it. It was great. I don't get it. And you're like, did you look at the card? And I was like, no.
But you know what, though? And you shouldn't have to. And to be totally frank, we've kind of come to the decision of we are going to work on that a little bit.
I'm not saying that as a fault.
No.
Yeah.
It's not a fault. It's just a point. But that we are struggling with. We really don't care if you, and that doesn't mean we don't care if you get it or not, because there's nothing to get, because you can get whatever you want from it. Did you have fun? Was it a good night out?
No, it was great. I love, like I said, but if your reply to me was, well, what did you think?
Mm-hmm.
I probably would have been okay with that too.
Right. I don't like to do. I mean, I will for you, but I don't generally like to. When you think of, did you have fun at my party?
No. Like when I said well, what was it? What was the impetus for these? Throughout it, I'm like, okay, they're immortal. Blah blah blah. What's the birth of this? The moment on the card, I was like, oh, I'm an idiot.
But you know what though? No, you're not.
But I enjoyed every moment
do you want to know
of
why?
it.
Because originally we really never intended for them to be the Adam and Lilith. They were just a representation of male and female, yin and yang, everything, you know what I mean? And masculine and feminine, which we shift back and forth between who that is.
Which I think you guys do great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I all these are from the heart, man.
I know they are. Yeah. I know they are. I don't take compliments well.
Me, I'll tell
I
you
demand
this,
them.
It sucks.
He will. He has.
What'd you think of that? I don't know.
Something to kind of shift this back to a more open dialogue. So now you've seen local theater, correct? What's the last local play you saw?
Nice nod, Lauren. No one heard that.
I'm trying to engage with her. I feel like we're dominating this conversation unfairly.
I don't speak very much.
Okay.
Totally not gonna say what I would say in private company next.
She's looking at him sternly. I'm going to narrate this now.
Please.
I love Lauren. I love Lauren to death. I think Lauren's absolutely amazing. We just have this running joke where it's
because the three of us just say whatever we want. Well, not so much. The two of us just say whatever we want.
And I.
She selects her words carefully.
You and I just
if we're talking about local theater in general, there's a lot of things. Two biggest areas, besides the fact of, I don't have to love everything that happens. I love that it's happening. Audience development. That's literally a job title in theaters in New York and theaters in other areas, which I understand have budgets that we can't dream of, and that's fine. But that's a little different than marketing. It's outreach, marketing, and surveying all rolled into one. Knowing your audience, getting them there, and doing whatever you want, but just knowing who that's responding to, and ultimately it comes down to marketing. Marketing.
Oh, absolutely.
Marketing. I mean, and I know it sounds unfair. You really do have to deliver it on a silver plate to people, and you shouldn't have to. It's just, unfortunately, you do.
You're competing with attention from every other kind of media.
And sometimes, it's $5 to go to the bar and I can have a drink, or it's $15 for a theater ticket and then got to go out and drink. And I understand, trust me, I fall prey to that sometimes. And I understand that pain when you're on a budget, when you're on time. Theaters in this area also need to, theater in my general, you can do whatever you want. They need to market better, know their audience a little better. Don't be afraid to give out a couple free tickets now and then. Audience development's important, but also I think original work needs to be developed stronger. There's lots of original work that happens. Generally, it's like a series of one acts or shorts. Taking a play and fully developing it is generally going to be more productive because when you're doing a night of one acts, that usually means, and those are fantastic. I'm not dissing those. Those are wonderful for what they are. It's a great showcase. It gets lots of playwrights involved. It gets lots of opportunities for different things to be seen. Okay, from those, take one and develop it to a full length of whatever that is. Because when you do that, you're investing all your energy into this one vision, to this one show. When unfortunately, when you do one act, a lot of the times it's like you're sharing sets, you're sharing costumes, you're sharing actors, and that's fine. But once again, the obvious repercussions happen. And we also need to get away from drawing room theater. I'm sorry, I have to say it. There's every other show that I see. It's like,
what does that mean?
Wacky things happening in a one-room setting. And that's fine. I mean, the Darling Corps basically takes place in a one room. I mean, like we indicate different locations when we're on tour, but like, you just do different. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the answer is, but it's very often like, you know, the importance of being earnest. It's always in like a one room, parlor setting. Like, I swear to God, Agatha Christie, she's a great novelist. Her plays are terrible. Agatha Christie plays suck. And I directed one before.
Because you needed to know.
Well, I was a freshman in high school. It was for my student production of And Then There Were None. And I mean, and some people have done
like that play.
And Then There Were None?
Yeah.
I like the book, and I do like the play, but the play, as I'm sure you know, doesn't stay faithful to the book. And that's
fun.
That's a major. It's fun, but so much of what's so great about her writing is like the inner thoughts and dialogue of her characters. And sometimes that's why, like, Catcher in the Rye, for example, has never been made into a film. One, because he was really tight on the rights, but two, how could you possibly? I think there's ways, but it's a major challenge. And now take that same issue onto a local theater. I have seen, for example, Ghostlight Theater a couple of years ago, I think maybe 2 or 3, 4 or some years ago, did a production of The Mousetrap, which is the longest running play in the world. It's still running in London. It's on its like 60,000th performance. It's still running. It's the longest play in the world. And I think that their production, Ghostlight's production of The Mousetrap, was great and awesome. And I've seen local productions of other Agatha Christie's that are very nice and fun and charming for what they are, when that's all that you do, when it's the same thing, when it's Neil Simon, Agatha Christie. And I think sometimes other theater companies, for those who are no longer with us, for example, took the opposite route. They just did original and avant-garde and out there. And that's great. It's about balance. It's about knowing your audience. And it's about going out there and doing something different, but being sure that you can keep the lights on.
Yeah,
and
but I mean, so part of it's about challenging your palette, and the other thing is about
stuffing your
giving
pockets.
people what they want. So
it's not necessarily like what they, I don't think it's like what they want. Like, we don't live in a town where like avant-garde is going to be like the rage.
Yeah.
No, but I think you have. But I mean, for example,
there's a niche for that. But
Right.
I think a lot of the times, like, people need to see.
I mentioned before. I apologize you weren't here, but and I know you didn't see it, but you were a major supporter of it and helped it happen. Pride and Prejudice, when we did it.
Yeah.
Back in May 2013, it was. I mean, we were totally banking on the fact that it's one of the most well-known books of all time. We had people drive up from like 5-6 hours away because they just love Jane Austen so much, and I do too. She's one of the most brilliant writers ever. Her characters are so universal. That's why we were able to transplant the time and setting. And we had fun with it, and we made it our own, and we played around with things, and there were some amazing performances in that. It was voted the best show in the area for theater of 2013 because it was just so.
Yeah, but you guys put a lot of work
engaging.
into that.
Oh, it was a lot of work. But just my example being, we did something with a familiar name, something with a popular draw, but still were able to make it artistically. And my sister Maggie actually directed that, and it was. I mean, she did a flawless.
She did a great job. Yeah.
Oh my! I mean, the costumes, the performances, the set. I mean, there were so many people that made that happen. It's not even funny, but. Yeah, it was a really good show. I will never not talk about it when I get the chance.
But I think that's the thing. It's like where you give something that, like, where you offer people the opportunity to have, the summer blockbuster, and then, you kind of get your street cred with that. People know that you're good. Okay, now let's try something different.
Right.
And I don't. Look, I'm not a theater geek. I'm not into the theater scene here, and it's not because I choose not to. Like, I just don't have time. I respect and appreciate everything.
There's so much good theater happening there.
There is.
The Old Brick. One of my favorite things that I saw there was Casey Thomas directed it. Behanding in Spokane.
Yes.
Spokane.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Spokane.
So good.
So good. Casey also directed Doubt at Actors Circle, which was phenomenal. Gaslight Theater Company. Was it Brandy George? I believe her name is. Directed it. They just did God of Carnage.
That was at
yeah,
Lackawanna,
we had a story.
That was
about
Lackawanna. That was with Tim McDermott and Kimmy Leff, both who are Kimmy Leff, both are members of the New Vintage Ensemble as well. That was amazing. God of Carnage is such a good show, and isn't your typical choice for this area. And that is a one room setting, but was fantastic. Was gorgeous. Was so well done. Ghostlight Theater, the Scranton Shakespeare Festival is doing Romeo and Juliet this summer. They do great work. I mean, I am a member of the New Vintage Ensemble, so I feel kind of crappy for tooting its horn, but from Pride and Prejudice to the reindeer monologues to the more immersive interactive stuff we've done to the reading series, I'm very proud of the work that group has done. And then the list goes on and on and on, and I can't begin to, start it. Do I think everything's golden? No. Do I think everything deserves a shot? Absolutely. And I think it's so much of it comes down to marketing and audience development, because from there, once you get that dialogue really strongly going, you'll know this didn't work. Even if a show selling out is not an indication that it was good, that's an indication that it was well marketed and that it was well promoted from within its own ensemble. I'm not trying to say that, because I know you mentioned earlier, I'm not trying to say those shows who didn't sell out didn't deserve it and weren't good, but well,
they go hand in hand.
50 Shades of Grey is the #1 movie in America right now, I think. So
right. So,
but you know what? And I totally respect. I have not seen it. I have no intention to, so I can't really be critical of it. I do respect those who criticize it for some of its tone and messages that it sends, especially for women. I totally respect and agree with that. Do I think that it shouldn't have been made? It's not my money. I didn't invest in it. You know what I mean? Like when people when people were flipping out about Zach Braff funding his film through Kickstarter, which I didn't agree with fundamentally. I don't think that was necessarily what it's there for. People gave him no one held a gun to your head and said, don't give Zach Braff $100. You choose to do that with your money, that's totally fine.
Yeah, but then on the other hand, when you had the Veronica Mars movie, nobody said a word.
Until after they came out, then people were pissed.
Was it not good?
I didn't see it.
No, people just were just pissed that they had raised the money through Kickstarter, because anything with a big name, people criticize you for doing it.
But nobody complained when it happened.
No, because they
hit their goal in like 2 days.
Because the fans want it, and
right.
I feel like that's the thing, is the fans should decide. If the fans want it, then
you want to give Veronica
it.
Mars your money? Great. You want to give
Absolutely.
Zach Braff your money? I think the difference was, I understand what you're saying, Mark. I think the reason why, from a PR standpoint, it didn't blow up until after the fact, because Veronica Mars was an established brand. It was it wasn't right. Zach Braff doing his brand new original movie. He
wasn't doing Scrubs again.
People if you did a Kickstarter to get Scrubs back on the air, I guarantee you it would be done in a second, because fans want that.
Right.
I think that would work for Farscape.
I liked Farscape.
I liked Farscape
love
too.
Farscape.
Yeah. If they would get,
if it's a sci-fi show, it probably would.
There was talk of
that.
There was talk of like Firefly being brought back. There was talk of, at the end of the day, there's been local causes for using Kickstarter, and I've used Kickstarter and Indiegogo, and I'm not going to pretend. At the end of the day, I originally, when I heard about Zach Braff, I got up in arms. I'm like, he's a well-known name. He also did get funding offered to him, which I think is a little different. Veronica Mars, they shopped that around forever.
Right.
To be brought back.
True.
He was told, like, yeah, we'll fund it. Here you go. No, I don't want to compromise my art. You know what? I don't have to necessarily. People willingly gave him money. I don't. That is ultimately what it is. Someone said, "Here, Zach Braff, take my hard-earned money, make a movie."
Well, people gave money to the Shake Weight too, so like
that's fine. You know then that's what it is.
So it's not like
there's local causes that have done Kickstarters. There are for-profit entities that have raised lots of money via Kickstarter. I didn't give it a dime. I didn't promote it. I wouldn't have. You know what? They raised the money. More power to them. More power to them. More power to them.
Good for them.
What are the audiences like at the local theater shows that not only that you've put on, but that you've just you've attended and you've seen?
There's a reason why the expression "if you can play Scranton, you can play anywhere" exists. We are notoriously, and anyone doesn't know, that's legitimate. That expression was originated from Scranton.
Yeah.
But when Scranton was in its prime back in the 10s and 20s, even the early 30s. And even a little later than that, shows, instead of previewing in Boston or Chicago, would preview in Scranton. We had such an eclectic mix of, the rich upper, level coal barons and so on and so forth. We had the dirty coal miners who would also, their families would go to shows now and then, and the dirty working class people, Irish and Polish and Italian of Scranton. And they were notoriously difficult audiences. And Scranton is a notoriously difficult town to work with. I think the theater community is very supportive, but I think John Q public audience member can be difficult. I've been heckled on stage. But you know what though?
Have you?
Not directly heckled. I've just had people like,
Or was it like in the audience going like, ugh?
It's been more like I'll say something, along the lines of, I can be difficult. I'll say. Like it's more, it's more of like that. But you know what though? I've always much more appreciated because I've been as an improv actor and I teach improv. That I think is always the number one thing. I'd rather have a responsive audience than nothing else. I'd much rather have someone going, ugh. There's nothing better.
At least they're paying attention.
I've been in shows where like a moment comes, the Darling Corps actually, there's a moment which I don't want to ruin, but there's a moment when Simone has this great line and she screams it out and it's, I know, you know what it is. And literally people I've heard someone in the audience go, oh my God. Like it's and I've heard the gasps and shocks that it elicits. And I'd much rather elicit a negative reaction than none at all.
Than crickets.
Oh, then just that, when I know if something was really funny, like not even when I'm in it, when I'm seeing a show and someone did something really good and real and believable and I'm laughing and then in the rest of them, it's just a smatter of applause. It's just, there's nothing more depressing than the smattering of applause.
Right.
Because it's just like, I'm doing this because I have to.
What about golf claps?
Those are fine. Because that just comes from a place of like reservation. Like you don't want to be loud, but you still want to express yourself.
You ever get snaps?
That's poetry.
That's poetry.
Yeah, poetry, you get mms and...
In speech and debate, did anyone else do forensic like speech and debate in high school? Or college even?
I didn't do
in
that.
speech and debate, when you for dramatic interp or, Lincoln Douglas debate or whatever category you were in, to save on time, I guess where the tradition started, but especially in Pennsylvania, in tournaments, and second place from Scranton, Conor O'Brien, everyone just claps once. The only person who gets full on applause is the first place winner.
Really?
Yeah.
That's bizarre.
That's really efficient. I like it.
It's really efficient. Because think about it. How many times, and fifth place, we got to go through 4 more people. And you're just the 4th loser. Like it doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No,
That's true,
but no. And I think it was totally efficient. I remember I didn't know that until my first tournament when I was in high school, but it was fun.
So it's tough, but it helps you. Does it help make better shows? Does it help make you a better actor? Has it had an influence on you?
What's that?
In terms of the audience reaction?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you learn from your audience, you learn from your peers, trial and error is everything when you workshop stuff, which is why, bringing it back, I think the Scranton Fringe Festival is going to be such an amazing opportunity. It's going to be a great opportunity for local citizens to see new work, to experience, to give their feedback. You never know when, something you saw at the Fringe is going to go on and become the next big hit on Broadway. I'm obviously speaking for personal hopes and aspirations, but if it wasn't for the Pittsburgh Fringe, we wouldn't be doing this. And even if the show goes no farther than where it's going to go in April, I'm thrilled with what we've done with it. And there's so many great things I've seen at other Fringe festivals that are so amazing. I think it's going to be great for artists locally to showcase some new work and try out some new things, to connect with other artists from out of the area who are going to come in. Those out-of-town artists are going to get exposed to a whole new demographic. And I really would hope, I just hope Scranton responds well. And I hope Scranton gives it a shot and says that this could be something that could help not just our arts and culture community and our self-esteem, shall we say, but fiscally, commerce-wise, it potentially, especially for downtown over those couple of days, could do a lot. Which
we are going to do our goddamnedest to get that out there.
We are going to promote.
I want the trapeze.
Let's get ready to fringe and trapeze. Lauren has spoken, so it shall be said. I never thought about here as a venue for the trapeze artist. That actually could work.
There you go.
You gotta run it past me first.
No, we're going to talk
Just
about this.
talk about it in the air. Lauren, do you think the trapeze artist show would be really well here?
I think it would be okay, but we might have to do something about the lights.
Out there, you mean?
Yes.
That could be. That we could figure that out. For most of our venues, we are going to have to bring in special sound. Here we wouldn't, but lighting and stuff like that. At least just basic. And some are basic rigs. People in Fringe festivals, there's going to be people performing in empty storefronts to just on off.
Because they're probably going to have the whole the thing.
They need I think they need at least a 14-foot clearance. They need 14 feet from floor to ceiling.
We can do 14 feet.
12 to 14.
I have 26.
Yeah, you're not an issue.
You have lots of feet.
I'm just so interested to see how people are going to react to this. I think it's going to be really interesting.
We'll see. And I mentioned the Fringe button, if I can just give one more little plug. When I mentioned, because tickets are going to be $10 for all the individual shows. So $10 to this show, $10 to that show. If you buy a Fringe button, which are going to be priced at $3 or $5, which you can buy at all Lackawanna County Garrity supermarkets starting in August. We're very grateful for that partnership, and other different community partners, which we'll announce as we get closer. The button from August 1st through December 31st is also going to get you special discounts and deals at local coffee shops and retail stores. And I mean, it might be minor. It might be saving you like 20 cents off a cup of coffee or something, but after a while, that adds up.
Sure.
So,
that's $1 after
watch
a week
your
of
pennies
coffees.
and your dollars will follow.
So the point of it to show that, I mean, not only the proceeds from the sale of the button go directly back to the Fringe to help us, but they also, that money then is going to encourage you to hopefully go into local shops, and that'll also be a nice way for us to track, like, if you can just, talking with local retail stores, like if you can keep a general record of how many times someone used, the button discount in a given month over the next couple months, it'll just be able to wait for us to show that the arts can give back to the community financially, fiscally, which is something that's on the mind of everyone in Scranton, obviously, right now.
Do you have to display the button?
Yeah, just pin it, some people like to pin them on their purse, so they just just have to swing it around and show it.
Mine now.
I can't put mine on my purse.
You can put it anywhere you want. You can pin that button anywhere you want.
My purse.
My handbag, my Michael Kors messenger bag.
Your urban dude satchel.
Is yours Michael Kors?
No, it was a gift. I don't know what it is.
Oh.
Moving on to the last word, brother.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it up.
Okay.
Because I did have an interaction, but we don't need to talk about it. But
we do.
Oh, yeah.
All
we do,
right.
but not like extensively, because I think our friend and regular troll, Bill Danger Robinson, is probably
back again.
Yeah,
Lauren.
he's back
I
again,
heard.
and I think this time. I just have to, and I hate to do this to anybody, because I think everybody should be able to say what they want to say. I might just have to block his IP from the site, because I'm just getting tired.
What's going on?
Okay, well, this guy, this is going back several episodes, like months and months ago.
It's an arc. Okay.
Yeah, he was trolling on the site. Basically, he's just one of these guys who, if our comment system, Discuss, is the same comment system on all the local media websites.
Lots of sites use that. Yeah.
So, he's up to over 2,300 comments on said sites.
He has a lot of time.
He has a lot of time.
How many numbers was that?
Over
It's
2,000
2,350
4
some, I think.
as of this sentence.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. As of right now, I'm sure that probably went up another 100 in the last, hour or so that we've been talking. But a guy who he's a good representative of what you see on most of these sites, where he just spews hatred at whatever it is. It doesn't matter. It could be like a wonderful story about someone fighting cancer or something like that, and he'd be like, "Why?"
I don't want to go so far as to say hatred. Maybe just negativity.
It's very negative. Yeah. He really just shits. He shits on the area. He shits on the people in the area. Everybody's ignorant. Everybody sucks.
He's a jerk pigeon.
Well, that's unfortunate for him.
Jerked?
No, not jerked pigeon. He's a jerk pigeon.
I didn't think you could jerk squab.
just one of these guys that, like, he'll just find some sort of fault and stuff. So
okay,
he comes around on the site, every once in a while and decides that he's just gonna, yeah, exactly.
So what's our?
He found an article from 2 months ago, and it was a video about the area, and it was basically trying to defend Scranton a little bit. So of course he had to jump on it and say, no, Scranton's awful. It's full of evil, racist hate and all this other kind of shit.
Yeah, he said we're more racist than West Virginia.
Right.
Wow.
Well, here's his thing. His proof for this was that he had read a book. And in the book claimed that basically the book is about how people's social media searches and their Google searches and things like that relate to their attitudes and their personalities. Like, what does that say about us? So, okay, that's fair. And he said, in the book, it says that West Virginia searched for the N-word quite a bit. So therefore, maybe we can conclude that they're probably pretty racist. Now, I don't know. You see, the thing that the search lacks is it's context. Is why are they searching for it? Who is searching for it? I'm not. There's a lot of questions to be had there. So he's saying,
what if there's a college course discussing race relations and
what
history?
If you're looking up NWA lyrics?
Right, exactly. And we gave a lot of scenarios as to now. obviously, me questioning this, he just immediately snapped back and just started crapping on me, for trying to defend the area a little bit. And because he was saying that, well, I looked it up in Google, because Google can, if you go through their statistics, they can show you like what people search for in certain areas. He said, well, I can show you that more people search for the N-word in Scranton and Wilkes-Barre than they do in West Virginia.
Wow.
Now, and it was by maybe less than 10 people, I think, that he was able to conclude this. So I said, I'm sorry, but I think you need a little bit more proof than a Google search to make a general statement about the area and say, everyone here are Nazis. They're just racist as hell.
Wow.
Because of how often they search for one particular word. And
a vile word.
A vile word, but a word.
But a word.
And so then he just started going off about us and the podcast and this and that and the website and how we should be doing this and should be doing that. So so we said, why don't you
negatively trying to tell us to be proactive?
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
So we say, all right, well, why don't you come on the show? You call in. And we'll actually have a real discussion with you. Like, we'll talk to you. Because, we always have guests that obviously are generally amicable. They're here to talk about something good about the area.
Right.
So let's have somebody on the show who...
Not so happy.
Yeah.
We're not Fox News. We're not Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah. And we're not, he obviously knows,
Hannity.
How we feel about this and how we feel about the area. Otherwise, why would we be running the site? And he refused to come on the show.
Did he give a reason?
He said that it would be an ambush, in his words.
Okay. Has he... Okay, I mean, I would propose to this gentleman, does he listen to everything?
No. That's,
okay.
He refuses.
By the way, I mean, does he listen to like the podcasts?
The only reason that he knew we were talking to him is because I linked to him, because we cut out the last word on our YouTube and just put that as a separate thing.
Okay. So this doesn't
he only watched the clip that talked about him. He doesn't watch the shows. Like, he commented on one of our earlier podcasts and said that, well, you missed a real opportunity to talk to this guest about this. And I said, well, if you listen to the show, we actually got into that in depth, as a matter of fact.
I think that's how this whole thing actually started.
Right, exactly. He was picking apart something he hadn't even listened to. Like, so he's just one of those guys.
Can I make one favor request?
Sure.
If he says anything nasty about me, don't tell me. Just delete it. If he says,
totally.
I'm not even kidding you, sir. If you have anything nasty to say about me,
screenshot it and frame it.
If he wants, no. If someone ever has something nasty to say to me, they want to directly contact me. That's fine. I don't want to find it in a comment section.
Can I read what I wrote?
Absolutely.
Real quick.
Sure. So this doesn't make it into the YouTube video?
This will make it into the YouTube video.
It does not make it into the podcast.
It will make it into both.
So everything.
Everything we do.
Then what does not? You said something doesn't make it into something.
The last word we do is its own separate segment.
Pull it out.
Yeah.
Pull it out.
Just for fun.
Oh, in addition to.
Yeah,
okay. Go ahead, Mark.
So Rich is having this back and forth with this guy, and he asked him to be on, and I saw him put the comment where he's like, I'm going to get ambushed.
Right.
So I didn't happily sign up for Discuss. As you will know, I'm like, do I have to like log in and have like a username and a password?
I
And
saw
Rich
you
is
guys
like,
debate this.
So I wrote to him and I said, "Hey, Bill," because his handle is Bill, Bill Danger Robinson.
Even though it's obviously not his name.
Okay, that's okay. I'm just trying to.
Yeah, I said speaking from the point of view of being one of the co-hosts of the show, and hopefully you've watched or listened to the Last Word segment of the show. The last thing I would want or allow is an ambush. We are not have any intention of being or will ever be the gotcha people. We just politely ask if you would be interested. If not, that's okay. And the great thing about phones is you can always hang up. No harm, no foul.
Right. We're not asking him to reveal his face or his name.
Right. I hope that you see there is no malice in my intent, especially, and welcome the opportunity with open arms to speak to you. I'm absolutely okay with my point of view being incorrect, which is why we extended the invitation. Hopefully you'll think it over, but if you decide not to, that's totally understandable. Maybe we can have a dialogue via this format instead. I wish you all the best, Mark.
That's a very, very fair, well-adjusted, mature response.
What did he say back?
I don't remember.
You just read it, so it's right.
No, I read a screenshot.
Oh, you read a screenshot.
Oh,
because I'm an egomaniac.
Oh, then don't start this
Anytime
conversation
I write
if you're not
something.
gonna.
Oh my god.
Anytime I write something.
Was it not positive? The reply.
No, he said.
Don't quote unless so this is paraphrasing.
Right.
What's the gist of what he said?
Yeah, I have to find. Okay, so Rich gave me. Okay, so
We are
here's
so prepared.
no. This is free form, baby.
People listen.
All right, so the actual
Yeah. Shockingly.
Okay, so where's Will Danger?
And it's not just like us, like repeat.
No, what's funny actually is and he said this later on in the show or later on in the comments because of course he just had he's one of these people who's got to get the last word in, like, which I guess just makes the last word segment more ironic.
I just realized that you can Google nepascene.com and Bill Danger Robinson and get all these threads.
Oh, I'm sure you can.
Ooh.
Yeah. So he says, well, obviously, the YouTube your YouTube videos don't have that many hits, so obviously nobody listens to you anyway. And I said, well, that's funny because if you actually did 2 seconds of research, you'd find that our show comes out on Tuesday on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher.
Yeah.
So you're not taking into account all the people that listen to that. And then by the end of the week, we put out the video as kind of a supplement. Just for the hell of it.
Do you have an approximation of how many listeners you get on an average video?
We on an average podcast.
The podcast, excuse
me.
Yeah,
we're averaging now about 200
listeners.
About 200 regular listeners.
That's nice.
Per podcast, and I'm counting all the formats.
Right, like
holy shit, Rich.
I know. Well, he just goes off and off and off. So I'm like, all right.
I thought he just had my one reply.
No.
So I wrote that thing and he goes, thanks, but I'm not interested in performance or amateur stand-up.
But what is that like?
And then
as if this isn't genuine is what he's saying.
And then Rich spends the next up until a couple hours ago destroying.
Oh my goodness.
Well, you see,
shit, Rich.
Here's the thing that I've this is why I'm going to just have to just ban them from the site because obviously I've seen people banned for less on other sites just because that's all they're doing. They're there to try to destroy the conversation. It's certainly not
like he hasn't had his chance.
Yeah, exactly. But I find it fun to kind of turn the tables on these guys and just kind of do the same thing to them that they're doing to you because they don't get that. Usually they're bullies and they like to bully other people.
Totally support that. But I'm sure you've also reached the conclusion that that's not worth your time.
Oh yeah, it's.
I fully endorse what you're doing.
Right, because from
a human standpoint.
Yeah, like last night, I sent a reply and then I'm like, I'm spending too much time doing this. I got to get back to work.
Negativity
I actually have to,
breeds more negativity.
Yeah, because and that's exactly it. Is we can go back and forth all day. He's not going to change my mind. I'm not going to change his mind.
Right.
But the thing is his conclusion, I guess, if you want to pull out of that whole thread, was that we should not be wasting our time talking about arts and entertainment. They are useless to the area, essentially. What we should be talking about is we should be doing investigative journalism. And with this investigative journalism, we should pull out all the corruption and all the evil from the area and just oust it.
That's totally a valid idea.
And I get that. But
why doesn't he?
But that's exactly what I said. Is he even at one point he actually says, bring me on as a contributor.
So he's okay.
Bring me on as a contributor. Pay me to do this, and I will give you content that will get eyeballs. So if he's going to do that, but here's the thing, and I said, but NEPA scene.
You're really angry about that.
Well, but here's the thing. His NEPA scene was built from nothing with no budget whatsoever.
Right.
So if I can do it, you can do it too.
And it wasn't like he said, well, I want to do it, help me get to that point.
Right.
It's right. No, that's negativity breeding negativity.
The reason that it bothers me, and the only reason that I've even given him the time of day, is because I feel like he's representative of that cynical, nasty Northeast PA attitude that, where everything sucks, everybody sucks, but I have no evidence or reasoning for it. I have no real statistics to back these things up.
Can I read one thing that he says that I just finally came across?
Sure.
You told me when he replied I would get like an email notification. I never got it.
Do others engage in this conversation besides?
Sometimes. Yeah.
No.
So
no, there's no one.
No, not the Bill Danger Robinson.
No, not.
Oh no. I know.
Okay,
I mean,
this is
nobody bothers to talk.
I meant with him. I didn't mean overall.
Yeah.
This is out of it's out of context considering there's 8 sentences before.
I understand.
So he says, yet the big takeaway here, the elephant in the room that you refuse to address is the racism.
I addressed it at least 3 times, by the way.
Not to mention corruption, etc., that exists in NEPA. We don't need more disgruntled weekender types giving thumbs up to every mediocre open mic dilettante. What we need are people.
He had to look that one up.
I know he did.
I'm not going to lie. I'm impressed, though. That's a good word.
What we need are people in the trenches who will do the real work of journalism and put in the effort to cover real issues that matter and affect people's lives. The ball is in your court. Run with it. If you want content that draws eyeballs and want to pay me, let me know. Otherwise, good luck. P.S.
Okay, we're not done.
Point us in the direction of the thoughtful investigative reporting you promise in your manifesto, and try to do so without talking about me. Tell us what you've done. Make believe that I don't exist, and point us in the direction of anything you have originated that might actually get non-white people on the payroll in Scranton or Wilkes-Barre or Luzerne and Lackawanna counties. Send one of your black friends out in Scranton and document the response they get when they try to rent an apartment. Do that and get back to me. Brevity is the soul of wit, etc., etc.
He wasn't. There was no brevity.
You can't end brevity is the soul of wit with any et ceteras.
Or after saying that was a part of what he said.
Yeah.
All right.
I was going to defend him until that happened.
That was I was going to give him stance that I do agree there is a very large amount of racism in this area.
Everywhere.
There's a lot of racism in the country. Okay, that's all perfectly fine. It's like, go talk to Rachel Ray and be mad that she does a cooking show. That's what the woman has chosen.
She's too perky.
She's too perky. What does cooking have to do? Well, first of all, to this gentleman, and I'll say this flat out, you are welcome to discuss with me as an adult, and I respect that your opinion is different than mine, and that's fine. To say that arts and entertainment and culture, and this is coming from the king of dilettantes, that does not have an effect on the community, you're wrong. You are incorrect, false. That is not true. I agree that investigative journalism is just as, if not maybe, in cases more important, then go by right ahead, do that. Be the change you want to see.
Yes.
And don't say bad things about me.
Well, the thing is,
actually, I don't care. Do what you want.
Investigative journalism takes time, money, and resources. And those are all very precious
And this
things.
gentleman has expressed he wants to get paid. I do too.
It took a year and a half to bring down Nixon. You know what I mean?
Here's
Woodward and Bernstein weren't, they didn't do it in a weekend.
Well, that's the thing is you have to build up something that people trust, that people care about, that people actually read. And then, you can start to introduce these kinds of ideas. You can't just put it out there because I've seen a lot of the local political blogs, if you want to call them that. And there's some of them are great. There's some really interesting ones. There's a lot of them that are conspiracy theorist bullshit where maybe a quarter of what's said is actually true, and the rest of it is people going off on these crazy rants and tangents, or specifically picking fights with people they politically don't like, as opposed to actually, having
not
a real
reporting.
dialogue.
It's an op-ed.
Exactly, and that's the thing is a guy like him, he's going to make those kinds of rookie mistakes. Whereas, I said we're not having a dick measuring contest here, even though we've proven that you obviously have no balls because you refuse to come on the show and talk to us.
But that has nothing to do with your dick.
Here's I would disagree. I think it does.
One does not need to have balls to be courageous.
The thing is,
look at Elsa.
The thing is
I don't know, I'm frozen.
I feel like. His main thing here is racism. He hates racists and he hates racist people. Clearly, I mean, it's obviously something that means
but
aren't
racists jerks?
Well, here's what I have to say about that. And
they don't always come across.
He did not respond to this like he didn't respond to anything else that I had said. Is that I feel like any hate of any kind, whether it's against your race, your gender, your sexuality, or just who you are as a person, who you've chosen to be, where you ended up in life, whatever, is fucking wrong to begin with.
Right.
So aren't you just as bad as the people you supposedly think are ruining this area? You think racism has eaten at this area like a cancer. I kind of think all hate does that. I think that's what hate does. So you spreading hate on the internet, hating everyone and everything and the way that they do things, and you telling them how to live and whatever, isn't that the exact same thing as a hate-filled racist telling other people how to live, what to do with their lives?
Well, it's the same book, different cover.
Right, exactly. So I feel like people like that aren't you're not contributing to anything. You're not helping anything. So don't tell other people to go and do that for you. I just think it's arrogant.
I think we can all agree that everyone has the right to their opinion.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
everyone has the right to voice. I mean, this gentleman has the right to voice anything he wants. He has the right to voice anything he wants, say whatever he wants.
As long as he doesn't have a call to action.
It's exactly. He can express any opinion and feeling that he has without denying that same right to others. And it kind of sounds like, and I haven't read everything and I haven't read every side of his story, so I can't say with 100% certainty, but with 99% certainty, it seems that he does not want others to have a voice.
I'm going to throw this out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should put Bill Danger Robinson to bed.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
I don't think that-
I was totally going to suggest that.
I don't think we need to ban
to
him.
quote Otho, you read my mind.
I think
Nobody got that?
He really just enjoys us responding
this-
to him.
this is
we are totally just feeding his
Yeah, absolutely.
ego.
For the
So,
record, keep going, Lauren. I'm sorry.
like a bad dog who is behaving poorly, we must turn our backs to him and ignore that he exists until he corrects his behavior.
Okay, thank God you said that. Because I was going to say, like, until you learn how to have polite discourse and have an open mind and be willing to discuss differing opinions in a way where it's not, you broke my Barbie, so I'm going to burn all your G.I. Joes to the fucking ground. Like, until he's willing to be fair and have a discussion, that's fine. I think we've exhausted enough breath on him.
Oh, yeah.
That being said, we don't hate Bill Danger Robinson. We dislike what he thinks and what he does. There's this great saying where, it's like you love your family, but you don't always have to like them.
Right.
Bill, I meant what I said when I wrote what I wrote. We are having a little bit of fun at your expense, but, sorry.
I'm not Bill.
Sorry, you kind of put yourself out there for it.
Right.
Just like we do. Like, we're putting ourselves out there for criticism too.
Yep.
And you're welcome to have it. And we're willing to have a debate with you, and we're willing to have an intelligent conversation. And we're also, everyone in this room, minus Connor because he's not here every week, and minus Jimmy because he's working his ass off, we're all willing to say when we're wrong.
Sure.
We don't have an ego about this. These are our opinions. These are the things that we think. If we're wrong, we're fucking wrong. Like,
Right.
own it.
But that's the thing is at the end of the day, we weren't wrong about anything. All we did was we made an arts and entertainment website, and then he said, "Well, it shouldn't be an arts and entertainment website. You should do this instead." Well, that's
Bill, go
not wrong.
fucking do it.
Right.
Like, what's
Do it.
stopping you?
I would like to second Lauren's
The
suggestion.
fact that you're on 8,000 other discuss pages, like, fuck off. Go do your own thing, man.
Well,
Seriously.
I want to end it on a positive note.
Yeah.
Because
On a positive note, I had a good BM today. I feel really great about. I'm just kidding.
You do understand by doing things like that, you just played right into his hand.
I'm trying to motivate him through tough love.
Right.
That's all I'm trying to do.
You do whatever you got to do.
I tried to be real polite to him. I'd still be
You do,
real
Mark.
polite to
He does,
him.
Bill.
If he called me up, I'd be like, "Hey, sir, what's going on? How are you? Can we talk? Let's have a discussion."
What if it's like one of you?
If I find out it's Jimmy, I'm going to go through the roof. It's probably
there-
fucking Jer.
That
Like, that's who's
that
doing
would
it.
be kind of poetic.
yeah, it would.
And Jimmy's like sitting back, riding home in his car, listening to the podcast, going like, "Son of a bitch, they're talking about me again."
I don't have time. I would love to have that much time.
Yeah, me too. Me too, man.
So what positive note are we going to end it on, Rich?
All right. Well, it's how to do positive dialogue correctly, and it happens all the time. He's literally the only guy, which is why we've dedicated too much time to him.
We're just trying to change you into a better person, Bill.
Yeah, which is never going to happen.
Bill can be
so
whatever person
There's
he
some
wants.
sunshine somewhere.
all of our commenters are usually really great, and they have positive feedback and interesting things to say. And one of the things is the Kirby Center recently announced that Daniel Tosh, who hosts Tosh.0 on Comedy Central, will be doing stand-up at the Kirby
May,
Center.
right?
Yeah, I believe so. And he is obviously a controversial comic. You know, he makes a lot of controversial jokes and things. It's kind of his shtick.
Mm-hmm.
And so people love him or hate him. And so Jamie commented on our. I'm just using first names. Commented on our Facebook page and said, because now he just sold out. He's selling out the first date, and then they're opening up a second time.
Good for him.
Because obviously a lot of people in the area must like his stuff. And that's common with a lot of the comedians around here. Jerry Seinfeld had 2 shows in a row. Because he sold really well
because
here.
this area is looking to laugh.
Right. So Jamie says, no offense, but figures NEPA would sell out a comedian who uses bigotry and rape as a crutch, but leave the Kirby Center half empty for a comedy workhorse like Gaffigan. And he's referring to Jim Gaffigan, who's absolutely hysterical, and I totally agree. And so I said, no offense taken on our part, Jamie. I said, we welcome readers' opinions, and Tosh certainly inspires that love him or hate him reaction. Our staff certainly has mixed feelings, though we could all agree that Gaffigan is absolutely hilarious. Was the turnout really that underwhelming the last time that he was in the area? And he said, yeah, I feel like it was reflected in his performance. I like Tosh .0. There's a love him or hate him eternal debate, even among his fans. And you see, that's how you have an actual dialogue, is he, it said right off the bat, yeah, I'm not a big fan of this guy. I think that his comedy isn't that good. He didn't say he's a nasty bigot and he should go die. He said, I think he relies too much on the bigotry and the rape jokes.
And, I know very little about Daniel Tosh other than Tosh .0. That's my only experience of him. So I had no idea that was a part of
he's a boundary pusher.
I believe it was sometime last year he had made a joke that didn't go over well.
I think it was a Twitter joke. Or
something. I believe it was a rape joke, and he had some backlash. So of course, like most people, they apologize. I don't know how much of an earnest apology it was, or if it was I might lose my big time Comedy Central job if I don't.
You do your celebrity penance.
Yeah, exactly. So, he says, I'm sorry, everybody moves on and everybody forgets that it happened, which is probably why you hadn't heard about it.
My point is,
sure.
The conversation going like that makes me want to investigate it further. Whereas had it been a all caps yelling thing, I would have dismissed it immediately.
Exactly. No, because now I'm
because I wouldn't care. Well, but now I actually kind of want to look. I want to learn. I don't
know much about him.
I would like to know.
Yeah.
Right. So
is that true, or is that being a little? Is that a little unfair?
No, he says stuff like that, but he says it. Yeah, but he said, Carlin did a whole bit on. This is not condoning any of this, but like comedians go to dark places a lot of the times to try to incite an emotion or saying something that's totally outrageous.
And with that keeping that in mind, obviously, but what I think were you the one who responded to that?
Yes.
Was that your response, like directly reading?
Yep.
What I thought was so great about that, one, it was you acknowledged their right to their view. 2, thanked them for giving any kind of feedback, positive or negative, and then you posed a question. Because so many times you see when people do things like that, they don't care for something. It's just, sorry you feel that way, and you can totally tell. And I've used that technique too when you really don't want to engage anymore. Right. You could tell like you wanted, that would have left an open-ended question. And I do feel when someone poses a criticism, it is totally right. You have the right to say, I don't like him because of these material he used or this incident that happened. But okay, you're the one who's you put the soapbox up there now. Defend your.
And now you've made other people interested.
Right. Exactly. And I think that's phenomenal the way that was handled.
Well,
so
the other thing is like, great, engage.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Just don't let it be a fly by night thing, which is what you didn't do.
Nothing can get worse by having a conversation.
And that's the thing is I just wanted to stress that
most things,
prophetic.
That if you do disagree with us, if you do leave a comment, just realize that we're people, we're human, we make mistakes or we say things that you may or may not agree with or whatever, but we'll talk to you, like it's not going to turn into a back and forth angry war unless that's what you're demanding, which is what a guy like Bill demands. We're really, I want to have those types of conversations where we're much more friendly and fun. Like there was a guy who commented, his name is Warren, and he said, we did an Oscar roundup story, and he just goes, I couldn't care less, just in all caps.
Cool.
I couldn't care less. So all I said was, and you wonder why the Academy snubbed you this year. And he goes, cute. That was his response because, it wasn't like...
See, I would have went touche. All right, good job.
All right.
Basically the same kind
Good
of
job, sir.
Exactly. I'm not going to disagree with you because, like we said before, do they matter? Yeah and no. Okay, I totally get that reaction.
But there's never any malice behind it.
No,
like
there isn't.
I post, look, unfortunately we live in a world where to have any sort of relevance, you have to kind of engage in social media, and I never, unless it's like a really critical issue, gay rights, racism, stuff like that. I will take a stand on that where I'm like, these are obviously wrong. Like if the Supreme, when the Supreme Court shot down, there was 2 court cases for the gay rights movement, and I was like, hell yeah, post that. I was the equal sign as my profile picture, all that. Nobody really gave me any shit, I
love how you look to me, by the way. I just want to point that out. Love you look to me because I'm
sorry, Connor. I was working the room and I just happened to be at you at that moment.
I get text messages every time there's an update.
So, I mean, but I'll also post stuff that
Krispy Kreme just put up a rainbow poster.
Pisses people off.
Right.
And usually it's like
I would
thoughts
be okay
because you have to and the brands struggle with this every day, whether they're huge multi-million-dollar corporations or something really small. Is you want to have a personality, you want to actually show that we're human over here, but at the same time you also want to try to please everyone and not you
can't.
But you can't.
It's not about pleasing everyone, and you can't.
I'm not wording that right, and not about pleasing everyone per se, but you just want you want to show that you're a person, but at the same time, by doing that, you're also going to have people who disagree with who you are as a person, and so you're going,
which is okay.
Which it is. But I think some people have these crazy overreactions.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But I think the way you handled that the Tosh.0 issue was very well handled, and Jamie, whoever he or she may be, I think that was a fantastic. That's a valid point. I have no stance on it because I don't know enough about it to make an educated comment. But I think whether we're talking about the Fringe or investigative journalism in this region or any of the other slew of topics we talked about tonight, anyone can have their opinion. Try to be respectful about it, and at the end of the day, just be nice to everybody.
The takeaway from this is don't be an asshole.
Don't be a jerk.
And then with everyone in this room and including Jimmy and Jer who aren't here, I love all you guys. So I want to say thank you for. And
can we all give a special mention to the fact that one of us sitting in this room was recently married. Rich was recently married to his lovely, lovely wife now.
Yeah.
My goodness, how does it feel, Rich?
We've been living together.
It feels like the day before.
With a much smaller bank account.
Yes.
By half.
But a couple of really cool tax breaks. That's about it. We've been living together the past couple of years. Right. So the transition was pretty easy. It was really like the stress was building up to the wedding, getting everything done for the actual event, which we kept really, really small.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is the most complicated party. People, cancel at the last minute and all kind. You never know, what's going to come up. But in the end, everything turned out really great. We had a great day. Everybody was happy.
You had fun?
We had fun.
You love each other?
Yeah, absolutely.
There we go.
That's it. So yeah, it was. Thank you for bringing that up.
Of course.
Maybe I can speak for everybody, but I just want to say congratulations, and I'm really happy for you because most people that I know that marry, well, I shouldn't really say that, but there's a lot of people that I know that married women who are just deplorable people. And your wife is absolutely phenomenal.
I'm sure some of those men weren't peaches themselves.
Oh, probably not. Well, no, wait. Let me take that back. Assuredly not.
She is extremely supportive, especially during this crazy time of transition with NEPA scene. You can't that's because that's love, a lot of significant others would have said you're nuts for trying to start something like this. There's no way you're going to get it off the ground. Go get a real job and be miserable so we can pay bills.
You know what? It's awesome. It's awesome to share in your dreams with somebody, man.
Yeah, and really cool. She's really like the unsung hero behind this whole thing.
Well, behind every good man is a very Even better woman.
That's absolutely
And
the truth.
speaking from Mark, sometimes a better man.
That's right.
I think we can all say that we're so happy for the opportunity to share our little nonsensical thoughts and opinions on the world. So I just want to thank you all so much for having me. And I really encourage everyone, if you're interested in the Fringe, contact us, and we're going to bring this on home because we've been talking for a really long time.
Yeah. So, but please support the Scranton Fringe Festival. It's not till October, but you have plenty of time to learn more about it.
Submit.
If you're an artist, please submit to this really cool event and try to be a part of it and make this thing huge because it deserves to be.
Thank you. ScrantonFringe.org/apply. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr.
NEPAscene.com. Thank everybody for listening.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.